Hello friends and welcome to this an overview course on Linux, that is basically Linux 101 course. In this course we will touch a brief overview of Linux and why you should learn Linux. So let's talk about what are the advantages of Linux. There are certain advantages of Linux over Windows. First and foremost, it is almost free to use. If you are going to use Windows, you have to pay some sort of license fee, or you can say you have to buy the operating system. However, in case of Linux, you can just download it and use it. Source code is included. You can go through the code of Linux and you can modify it and you can use it as well. Bugs are fixed quickly and help is readily available to the vast support in internet. You will face some problems using Linux because the learning curve is bit high as compared to Windows, but the help is readily available. Linux is more stable than Windows. It is a truly multi-user and multitasking system where multi-user means a number of users can simultaneously work on the system. Multitasking is that the OS can support number of programs simultaneously. Also, Linux runs on equipment that other operating system consider too underpowered. That is your 386 system, PDA, etc. In fact, some electronics or digital equipment run Linux, such as if you are using Kindle, it works on Linux. If you are using any of the IoT hardware, in fact, your router must be running on Linux. So there are a lot of diverse applications of Linux, and you should go ahead and try it out. The next question is why you should master the Linux command line interface. Well, first and foremost, if you are from a digital or technical background, first and foremost, if you are from a technical background, you would be working on some sort of Linux system, then you should master command line interface. It will provide you with a lot of flexibility and it will provide you a lot of control over the system that you can use. Certainly, it will increase your efficiency. You can understand the computing concepts easily and you will become a power user, and you can advance to next level of scripting and programming. So when you understand each and every aspect of computing, to write a good program would be very easy for you. You can in fact automate your stuff. You can automate the menial tasks that you're doing on day-to-day operations, and you can write scripts or programs to automate them. You can advance to next level of computing mastery, and definitely you it would be cool for you. So let's talk about why we should learn Linux. First of all, Linux is present everywhere. It surrounds you in most of the electronics and digital equipments. All the supercomputers of the world use Linux. 60% of global auto shipments use automotive grade Linux, that is your car is fitted with some version of microchip or microelectronics that would be running Linux over on top of it. 69% of all embedded devices use Linux. That is, even in fact, your electronics equipment that you are using might be running some sort of Linux or on top of it. We are in age of IoT or machine to machine communication, where most of the IoT platforms would be running on Linux. Home security platform would be using some form of Linux, whether it's a digital video recorder or some sort of automated home management system. It might be using Linux, and so for general public sense as well, learning of Linux is quite important. All the cloud platforms support Linux servers, and we can use them. It is easy to use, and Linux is it is easy to use and it is quite versatile. And it is helpful if you are going to start your career in computing, DevOps, security, cloud, etc. So, if you are from a technical background, it is very essential and very helpful for you to learn Linux, and you can jumpstart your career in computing or any digital platform, and learning Linux would be very helpful to you.
Okay, so let's talk about the Linux file system. So Linux file system is kind of an inverted tree. Like this is the root, and you can consider the other directories or the child directories as a leaf. So the root and then the trunk and the leaves. So it is kind of an inverted tree. So that's why it's called the root file system, because it is the parent of all the directories, and all the directories, if you talk about the Linux file system hierarchy, would be child of the root directory. And you start with the root directory denoted by slash, at the top and work down through the subdirectories underneath it. So we can check this by a command called tree, and let me show you here. So I can just type command tree. I can specify to use only directories, and I can go to level 1, and I'm inside my, let me first show you the working directory. I'm on inside the root directory, and if I type tree hyphen d, that is for directories, and hyphen l and specify only level 1, so it will not show me the subdirectories of the first level directories. So you'll get, so I will explain all these directories one by one in the slide. You can see we have system directories, that slash is the ancestry of all the directories on the system. Slash bin is essential tools and other programs. Slash dev is files representing the system's various hardware devices. etc is miscellaneous system configuration files, data file, etc. Home is the home directory for all the system user. Lib is essentially the library files used by tools in bin. Proc file gives you information about the current system processes. And slash root is a super user's home directory. Then you have sbin, which is system administrator tools or system binaries. Then you have temp, and which includes the temporary files, and slash user, which includes the subdirectories with files related to the user specific tools and applications. So if I just increase the level to 2, all right, I've just only selected directories. So you can have in bin, there is no directory. We have all the programs only, binary files. In boot, we have AFI and grub, that is my bootloader, grub. In dev, we have block, BSD, bus, car, CPU, etc., which corresponds to the various devices that we have. Then in ATC, we have specific programs like Bluetooth, certificates, Chromium browser, etc. And if I go to home, I have only one user now, Mohit. And lib, we have specific libraries that are going to be used. Then we have some lib64 for 64-bit libraries. In media, there is only another directory called Mohit, which is the file system that I have mounted. And proc will contain all the processes. So this is the process ID 110.1001. So these are the process, real-time process. So one thing you should note, that proc directory is created every time your system is booted. And then you have root, which is not able to open because I do not have the permission to open the root directory. And you have system, where various system level libraries. You have temp directory, and then user specific programs like user specific binary games, and then you have various other programs which contains the other application as well. So if you are creating a web server, your web server would be located in var www, and your emails are located in var mail. So this is a various overview of your file system. Hello and welcome. And in this section, we will going through the basics of command line or the CLI. So I'm on the terminal, and you can see this is the prompt here. It is appearing and disappearing. This is the prompt which is actually waiting for my command. If I want to type a comment, I can do so by pressing the hash key, which is actually this hash key. And if I type anything, that is, the shell will ignore it as a comment. So this is only for user. We can only see the shell will not process this comment. The key on the top of tab represents a tilde. If you press the shift key, you would see that this is a tilde. It specifies the home directory. I'll just, let me just press it like this. And this would be my home directory wherever it is located. The forward slash, if given without any prefix or suffix, it would be signifying to the root directory, that is the root of the Linux file system. So you have to make sure that you know that hash works for comment. The tilde followed by forward slash works for the home directory, and only the forward slash works for the root directory. So how to navigate the terminal? Tab is usually for autocomplete. I will show you how autocomplete works. Then Control C is to stop the execution, that is kill the process. Control Z will pause the process, and you can use FG to resume the process. Semicolon is when you want to use two commands in the same line, and Control plus L is clear the screen, also clear. Control A is beginning of the line and Control A is end of the line. Control U is the clear line and Control Y is undo the delete of the line. Control P is previous command and check next with Control N. Control S is stop the output on the screen and end for multiple commands. So let's go ahead and try it out. So let's see how we can navigate the terminal. I can type a command and press tab and it would auto complete it. So I've just typed CL and you can say I press tab and it will auto complete the command. This is also useful when you are working with directories. Suppose in this directory I have chapters, I can just do cd and space. I will just type ch and if I press tab, it will auto complete and fill the chapters for me. In this way, I've moved to the chapters directory. Now, suppose I'm typing a big command on the command line, and if I want to go to the first character, I can use Control A, and I would be moved to the first character. I can use Control E to move to the end. I can use Control U to clear the line, and I can also use Control Y, which will undo the clear of the line. So let me do an upgrade of my system. Okay, and I will just first do an Control C. So as soon as I do Control C, it will actually stop the process, stop the execution, and it will kill the process. But if I do Control Z, you will see it is showing me stopped, which means it has paused the process, and with the command FG, that is foreground, I can resume the process. So in this way, the process would be resumed. You can Control S, you can actually stop the output on the screen. All right. If you press Control S, you can use and for multiple commands. That is, suppose I create a directory, I can use and do and change the directory. So I'm actually using two commands, first to create this directory and then to move into the directory. Also, you can use semicolon for multiple commands in the same line. Suppose I want to create two directories, source and destination. I can use this semicolon and you would see that both the commands are executed. However, these commands are not interrelated. You can use clear to clear the screen and also the option Control L, which is also similar to clear screen. I can use Control P to go to the previous command, as well as I can check history or historical commands. So just to recap, we have the following options for navigating. Tab is to autocomplete. Control C is used to stop the execution, that is kill the process. Control Z would pause the process and you can use FG to resume the process. You can use semicolon to have two unrelated commands in the same line. Control L is to clear the screen and also you can use clear. Control A would take you to the beginning of the prompt or beginning of the line and Control A would take you to the end of the line. Control U would clear the line and you can undo the clearing of the line using Control Y. You can go to the previous command using Control P and to the next using Control N. Control S will stop the output on the screen. And if you're using multiple commands, you can use end. So if the first command is executed, the second command would be executed then. You can use history to check for the historical commands. So go ahead and practice this because this is kind of habit that you can have if you have all these navigating options with you, and it would be a bit convenient for you while working with terminal. So let's talk about the syntax structure. So actually the syntax structure is command, then we have some options, and then we have certain arguments. So arguments are the, you can say, details that we provide to the command. So command names must be comprised of lowercase characters and digits. So all the commands that we use are always lowercase and might contain some digits. You should always know that Linux command line is case sensitive, and small r or capital R would mean a different thing altogether. Option name must be one character in length. So always the options would be one character in length, and you can combine multiple options. So you should always remember that if you are having two characters of option, they are actually two options, not one option. All options are preceded with a hyphen. That is, after the command, if you're giving any option, you have to provide a hyphen, and then you can supply all the options, and you can as well combine multiple options. Like for example, if I'm using a command rm, I can combine option r and f using an hyphen. So I would be using two options with a single hyphen. A double hyphen may be used to indicate the end of the option list. So sometimes you might be using a double hyphen to, I can say, specify the end of the option list. The order of the options are ordered independent. So rm space hyphen rf is equal to rm space hyphen fr. The order of arguments may be important. Yes, this is very much important. That suppose if you are doing CP, the source and destination, if you interchange, would mean a different thing altogether. So in the command CP, the first argument is always the source. So in the command CP, the first argument is always the source, and the target directory is always the destination. So in the command move, the first argument is always the source, and the second argument is always the destination. You cannot interchange it. Now, if you interchange, then it would work the other way around. A single hyphen is used to mean a standard input. So to understand the syntax structure, I will just take you to this command cp-f source and destination. So the first thing is command name must be comprised of lowercase characters and digits, which is fulfilled here. My command is cp and it's always in a lowercase. So if I'm using a capital CP, it does not mean anything. So you should always know that it is a case sensitive and all the commands are always in lowercase characters or lowercase letters. So I have to provide options and I can do it by single hyphen. So if I do RF and it's the same thing like FR, I can combine multiple options with it and my arguments would matter. So the first argument is always source and the second argument is always destination. I cannot flip them. So if I flip them, it will copy the files from destination into the source. Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, I will tell you some basic commands that we will be using throughout the journey of this course. So let's get started. I'm in my directory here, and this is a GUI of your directory, and you can see it is showing me that folder is empty. I can open a terminal by right clicking and selecting this open in terminal option, and I would be popped up with a terminal window. I can also do the same by pressing the shortcut key, that is Control Alt and T, and another terminal window will pop up. Now this is a terminal window that is emulated. And if you check the process, just like in Windows you had Task Manager, we have a command that is PS. So I can just search for a terminal. So I'm using grep, which will filter out this text from this output. We will see all these commands in detail in the upcoming lectures, but I'm just giving you a brief overview. I'm checking what are the process running, and from that list of processes, I'm just selecting all the processes that have terminal in their name. So you can see I have this userlib genome terminal server with the process ID 3728 and the parent process ID 1551. And this is the other command, that is grep, which is actually this command that we have executed. So if we kill this process, let's see, and do a complete kill of this process, you'll see the terminal windows are gone. This means I have killed the process that was executing that terminal window. So coming back, I've opened the terminal window again, and I will just do echo $0, which will provide me the current shell that I'm executing. Now let me check the process ID of bash, and you can see it is 3897 with the parent process ID 3888. Let us find out what is the parent process ID and what program is it. You can see it is Genome Terminal Server. So what has happened here, that when I pressed Control Alt T, all right, the terminal server, the Genome Terminal Server has been launched, and it has invoked a child process, that is bash. Now let us find out what is the parent process 1551, whose child process is this Genome Server. And you can see it is the systemd user. So systemd is a daemon that provides the user's control, like you can just do start, stop, and disable their own units, and it invokes all the child processes for the user, and its parent process is one, that is init. If I search for one, and you can see here the topmost process is invoked by root, and it is has been init. So in this way, you can create a hierarchy. Like if I just want to write down here, let me open a text editor and I will show you. So first it was edit. After it, we had a process ID 1551, that was systemd1. Then we had a process ID 3888 something, that is terminal server. And then we had the process ID something for suppose 3889. I'm just putting a random process number here for bash. So you can see this is a hierarchy of process, and all the process are child of the parent process one, whether they are direct children or their grandchildren or great 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 grandchildren. So every process is a child of init process. So this was a very brief overview of how processes work. We will check this in detail in the later sessions. Now let's talk about the file system. When you are in a computer or you're accessing your laptop, you want to create some files, you want to save some files, you want to open them, read them. How you can do it in Linux? So suppose you have the GUI option here. I'm here in this directory, home, workspace, Linux, chapters, and basics. This is the directory path you can see here. And I can just open a terminal here. And if I see ls, so you can say ls is this short form of this directory. But I do not have any files, so I can just create one file, that is sample file. And you will see the file is created in the GUI as well. And the size is 0 bytes because it does not contain anything. So I can use touch to create a file, mkdir to create some folders, that is suppose the sample folder. In Linux, it is mostly termed as directory, and in Windows, it was termed as folder. So let's get used to calling them as directories. And if I do ls here, so you will see the directory is in blue color, file is in white color, and then we have some sample folder. So this is a very basic option. If you want to add some data to the file, you can use the VI editor and provide the file name, and you can add data. I used a keyword I here to go to the insert mode, and then I would press escape and then colon and WQ. So we'll see in details how you can use VI, but you should know how to create a file in VI is just VI and the file name, and then you can just do an I to insert or A to append. So suppose if I go to the last line and press A, I can just write it here. I press escape and then colon WQ, that is for write and quit. So I can add some data, and you can see here it is showing 24 bytes. Now if I want to read this file, I can do a cat, that is concatenate, on the screen, and I can read the file. I can also count the words. It has 5 words, 1 line, and 24 bytes. That is being shown here. So you can work on files using WC. If you want to go into a directory, you can just do cd and directory, and you can go into the directory. You can do a cd dot dot, and you can come back from the directory. If you want to go to the home folder, you can just do cd slash. That will bring you to the root. Then you can provide the home and whatever your home folder is. Or you can also use a tilde that specifies the home folder. So this is a very basic navigation using command line. You can press Ctrl L. It will clear the screen. You can also open programs, like suppose I want to open a text editor. I can just type gedit and it will open the text editor. I can write it here and I can save the file, just a normal text editor. You can open a program as well. You can also connect to the internet. Suppose I want to type Firefox. So it will open the Firefox and it will open the page that I've supplied. So I can just I can provide the Firefox and the URI and it will open that page. I can also try to connect to google.com and it will do a ping. So there are a lot of options that you can perform with command line which you might not have used much. So we will cover all these options in details. So let's get started and I will see you in the next lecture. So in Linux, we have concept of absolute path, which is the complete path from the root to the last directory. And relative path is the path specific to some other directory. And it can be denoted using the current directory, that is dot, and the parent directory, that is double dots, that is 2 dots. If we talk about absolute path, so your absolute path for var would be /var. All right. So let's go to home directory, my home directory. I will go to Lin workspace, Linux, and chapters. Now this is my directory where I am putting all the files related to this tutorial. And if I do pwd, that will provide me the full path, or you can say the absolute path. If I do ls dot, that corresponds to the current directory. If I do ls dot dot, that corresponds to the a parent directory. So if I do ls dot dot, it will show me the files for the parent directory. So this is a relative path. So if I do a cd dot dot, I'm using a relative path to move to the parent directory. And if I do cd chapters, I'm using a relative directory to move inside the chapters directory. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I will talk about cat command. So cat is a short form for concatenate and it can be used to read the files, append two files, or you can say concatenate two files and write two files. So we will see all these options. So let's check it out. So there is no file right now, and what I will do, I will first create a file which I can work with. So I will just do a cat command and I will use a redirection operator and the file name that I want to create, and I can just press enter. It will give me a terminal prompt and I can put all the contents that I want to put in the file. And if you press enter, you will see you are going to the new line. So I've created a file. Now you can just press Control and D. D for Delta, Control and D. And as soon as you press Control D, the file would be created. Now I've created a new file using cat, and you can use cat to open the file and display it in the terminal. Now it's actually concatenating the file with the terminal output. If you want to display the new line, you can use capital E and it will display the new lines. You can now use the option A also, sorry, capital A. All the options are case sensitive, and it will also display a dollar sign in place of a new line. You can also see the line numbers used by option N, and it is helpful if you are working with code that you are able to see line numbers on the file that you have concatenated. Now let me create a new file, and I'll just write hello, how are you here, and press Control D. So if you check here, you would see the file is created. So now I can concatenate both these files by using cat hello.txt or hello world.txt, and you would see first it has given me the output of hello.txt till here, and then it has concatenated the output of the file hello world.txt. I can also use any options with these two arguments, and you can see it has concatenated and provided the line numbers as well. I can also make a new file with this, that is new file.txt, using the redirection operator. So now if I cat the new file, you will see the concatenated output is appended, or you can say added to the file. So if you use the single operand, you can overwrite the file, and if I suppose reverse the direction, you will see that this file is overwritten. So you can see the file is overwritten. But if I want to append the file, I just need to use the append operator, and this will append the data to this file. So in this way, you can use cat command to create a file or concatenate multiple files, and you can also display the files on the screen with various options. So just to recap, so we have the following options with the cat command, that is read files. We saw the option E and T. We have option for concatenating two files. We saw the option how we can create a new file using overwrite or append. And if there is no redirection operator, it will display it on the terminal. And we can also create new files with the following options. So go ahead and try it out, and in case of any queries, do put in the comment box. I will see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we will see how we can copy a file from a source and destination. So we'll use the cp command, that is a short for copy, and we'll see the following options: F for force override, I for interactive, and where we do not overwrite the existing file, P for preserve attributes, R for recursive, and U for update. So let's go ahead and check it out. So I'm here in my terminal. I will create two directory, source and destination, and inside source, what I will do, I will just create multiple files. I will just do touch f129.txt, and you will see I have created 9 files with just one command. Now I will use copy, that is cp, to copy f1.txt to the destination folder. Now this will, if I check my destination folder, it will have only one file, f1.txt here, and it is copied. So in this way, I have copied f1.txt to the destination folder. I have not specified the destination file name. I can also specify the destination file name, and I can change it if I like, and you would see that it has already created another file with the copied f1 or the updated name. So this is a default option when you use. If I run this command again, you will see it will directly overwrite without any prompt. So suppose if I check the file here and destination copied f1.txt, it does not contain anything. So if I just write f1.txt with the sample text, and if I copy it again to the file name copied f1.txt, and if I open it, so you would know that it has overwritten with the updated file. So by default, the copy option is overwriting the file. It is same as if you use the option -f, which is actually force override. So -f will execute the override by default. The other option is I. So if I copy these files, it will ask if I want to overwrite or not. So it is kind of a safe copy where you would be prompted if the file would be overwritten. The next is option N. So this will not overwrite the file and it will keep the original version if the file is existing. So let me do one thing to show this. I have a file f2.txt. I will just do an f2 cp f2.txt and I will copy it in destination, and then I will update f2.txt with a sample text, and when I execute cp-n f2.txt, let me first show you what is in the destination file. So in destination f2.txt we don't have any content, but if I do a cp-n f2.txt to the destination f2.txt and then we check the destination f2.txt, we would see that the file is not overwritten. So if you do not intend to overwrite the existing file, you can use an option -n. And if you want to be prompted for before overwriting the file, you can use option I. Now let me create another directory with the permission. I'll create a directory test, and in destination I will just copy this directory to sorry destination. So you would see it will give you an error that -r is not specified and it is omitting directory test. So it will not copy the directory until or unless you provide the R switch that is for recursive. So let me just do that. I will just create multiple directory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I created 5 directory nested directories, and I will just do cp-r and 1, and I will just copy them into destination. If I do an ls capital R and destination, you would see that it has copied directory 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the nested directories that I've created here on the source. So you can use -r for recursive copy. So it will copy all the files and that are inside the specified directory. So it will do a recursive copy. Now suppose I've changed the permission of directory test. Let me just do a chmod and capital R 777 on test. And if I see it, so you would see that this directory test has a permission to all. So if I copy it, a recursive copy to this directory, and if I copy it to destination, and if I see the directory destination, you would see the permissions are not copied. I had the permission to all, that is 777 for this directory test in the source, but in the destination I do not have permission to all. So if you intend to copy the permissions also, you have to use option P And if you check now, you would see that it has copied the permissions also. Now to show the last option, that is for update, what I will do, let me create multiple file inside directory 1. So if I do a capital R, you would see in directory 1 we have till 9 files which have been created. Now I will do just cp-r. So I'll just do a cp-r. The R should be in small case, and I will just copy it to the destination. And you would see, if I check the status of the files in the destination folder, you would see that the files are copied. Now let me update the file f2.txt and put some simple text here. And what I will do, I will just do a cp-r, and I will use interactive option, and I will use an update. So in this way, what will happen? Only the file f2 should be copied, and it should ask me for the confirmation to override the destination file. Let us run, and you will see it will ask me for the confirmation to override only f2.txt. So it's actually only copying the file which has been modified, and it will not copy anything else. But if I don't use the option U and I will run this command, then you will see it will ask me for each and every file. So if you are using option U, it will only copy the file which has been updated. So just to recap, we check the following options: F, that is force override; I, that is for interactive; N, for do not overwrite existing file; P is preserve attributes, where we want to have the same permission as the source; R is for recursive; and U is for update. Go ahead and try it out, and in case of any queries, do ask in the comments box. So let's understand permissions and access rights. First of all, we have the following scopes, that is users, groups, and others. So whenever you type a command like ls-l, you would be given the following details. So the first option would define what type of file it is. Then you have the scopes. The first three you can say is for user. The second three would be for group, and the last three is for others. Files and directories are owned by users, assigned to a group, and for others we have a distinct permission. The first triad is for what the owners can do, the second triad is what the group members can do, and the third triad is for what other users can do. So let's check this example here. So here we have following type of files and directories. We have a FIFO file here, which is specified by P. We have a directory which is specified by D, and we have a regular file which is specified by hyphen. Here you can see we have the permission RWX, that is for the user, for source, and here we have only RW, read and write, not the execute to f1.txt. For the group, we have only read and execute permission. We do not have any write permission. And for others as well, we have read and execute permission for the directory, not for the write permission for the others as well. So in this way, you can decode this options in form of triads, which represents what type of permissions is there for the user, for the group, as well as for the others. Now let's see how it calculates two numeric notations. So for R, we have it's a weightage of 4. For W, we have a weightage of 2. And for X, we have a weightage of 1. So if we sum it, the total would be 7. So let's see the logic behind it. We have three options, that is read, write, and execute. So to represent these three options, we require 3 bits, right? So if we see, we have these 3 bits to implement this as an option. The read bit can be represented with 100, the write bit with 010, and the execute bit with 001. So if we know the binary table, that is 000, So it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can see here, if in case of no permission, we can set all the 3 bits to 0, 0, 0. So this would be no permissions, that is no read, no write, and no execute. So it would be 0. If we want to provide X, that is the read only, sorry, the execute only permission, that would come to 1. For write only permission, we can provide 1, 0, that would be 2. And for read only permission, we can have 4. So that's why for the read we have 4, for write we have 2, and for execute we have 1. So the total would be all the 3 bits, and if we set all the 3 bits here, it would be 5, 6, and 7. So the sum would come out to 7. So this is the logic behind having the representation for read as 4, write as 2, and execute as 1. And if we total it, the sum would come out to 7. Then you have bits like 6, 5, 3, which comes out to be various combinations of these 3 bits. So if there is mentioned 000, that is no permission. Then we have RWX, that is read, write, and execute only for owner. We have 0770, that is read, write, execute for owner and group. We have 777, that is read, write, and execute for owner, group, and others. We have 111, that is only for execute. 222, that is only for write. 333, that is for write and execute. 444, that is for read. 555, that is for read and execute. And 666 for read and write. And 740, where owner can read, write, and execute. Group and others, group can only read and others have no permission. Let me show you how this translates when you're working into the files. So let me take a sample file f1.txt. I will just do a chmod and I will just do r. I will just do 777 f1.txt. As soon as I do f1.txt 777, you would see I have provided permission for read, write, and execute to all the users, groups, as well as the others. So this is highlighted now, and you can say RWX, RWX, RWX. So if you sum it, this is 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is 7. 4 to 1, 4 to 1, and 4 to 1, that would translate to 777. So this is the sum of the first thread, this is the sum of second thread, and this is the sum of third thread. Let me just change the permission to 700 f1.txt, and if I do ls-l, you would see I've just provided the read, write, and execute permission to user only. The group members as well as the others cannot do anything to. Now if I want to provide only read permission, that is 4, so I can just do chmod -r 4 for user, 4 for group, and 4 for the others. Now you can see I've just provided the read only permission, that is RRR for f1.txt. So you should go ahead and practice this permission numeric notation. Go ahead and check in your system and try to understand what type of permissions are there using the command ls-l. Next is understanding files. In Linux, everything is a file. So let's see what are the types of the file. That is regular, directory, symbolic link. Regular means a normal file. Directory means it is a special type of file which contains other files and directories. Then we have a symbolic link. Symbolic link is actually a file which points to some other file or directory. Then we have some special files, that is FIFO. Then we have block special, character special, and socket. So let's check what are the type of the files. Suppose I'm in this directory, let me create one file f1.txt, and if I do ls-lr, so you can see this, the first option in this ls-l will show you which type of file it is. In the normal file, it will just show an hyphen. So this is a normal file. We have two directories, source and destination, and it will show a D here. Now let me go to the /dev directory and I will just do ls-l, and you will see we have the following type of file. This L is a symbolic link, which is actually, you will see this log is pointing to the following directory. So this is a symbolic link. Then we have a option C, which is a character file. So this is a character special file. Then we have an option B, which is a block special file. So sockets are a special type of file which are used for TCP/IP sockets, and it works for inter-process networking as well as networking towards the other workstation or other network elements. So FIFO is a kind of special file which you can create by mkFIFO, and you will see that it is represented by an option P. So FIFO is a special file with name, you can say path name, and it is kind of used as a pipe for some special operations. So as we see, there's the following special kind of files like FIFO, block, character, and socket. I've just shown you how you can identify what type of file it is in Linux. Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we would see how we can find the documentation or the help for any command or any program. Now, this is a very good example of good documentation. Linux has all the programs and all the commands with a very detailed information and very detailed documentation, which you should always check regularly, because with some updates there might be some additional changes or additional options that might be included. There are a lot of options to get different type of information, and we'll see each one of them. So I'm here in my terminal. So the first way to check any details of any command or program is using type, and you can use it to get the details. So if I do a type cd, which is actually used to move into the directory, it will provide that cd is a shell built-in. It is a built-in command. You can also do a type for some famous program like Firefox, and you will see that Firefox is user with Firefox, or you can see the Firefox binary is located in the following path. You can also use it for some other command like ls, and it will give me that ls is aliased to ls color auto. So we'll check for alias in the upcoming details. You can also get details of some of the programs that are not system built in, and you will get the location of that executable. You can also get the details of this type. So you know that type is a shell built in. So type will give you a very primitive information of the program or the command. Second option is which. So suppose if I type which Python, and it will give me the location of the Python which is being selected. And if I type which bash, it will give me the location of the bash or the shell which I'm using. I can also use it for the browser, and it will provide me the directory of where it is located. For finding the location of the program, you should use which. Now, most of the commands will have some help included, so you can use the option double hyphen help. You will get all the help regarding the other options. So you can use this with most of the commands, and they will have some help documentation available. So make sure that it is mostly double hyphen help to get the details. Now the next one is the most important command, that is man or the manual pages. So if you want to check the detailed manual pages, you should type the command man space whatever command you want to check. So suppose this is the manual page for list, and you can go through the details by pressing the space bar, and you can press Q to quit. You can also check the details for the man command, and you can see it specifies an interface to online reference manuals. You can scroll through this manual page using a space bar, and you can quit using QE. You can also check the details for man page, and you will have all the details here. So the next command is apropos, which will provide you the appropriate commands, and it will sometimes give you a lot of, you can say, details. So suppose as soon as I type ls, it will give me all the commands that will have ls related to it. if I type apropos PDF, it will give me all the programs related to PDF. You can see it will give me the all the programs related to www. So in this way, you can find all the list of appropriate commands which contains the specified keyword. So the next command is info, where you can get information of some of the programs or the commands. Now this is very different, but sometimes it works like a man page. So if I do info Firefox, I will get the details, that is man pages of Firefox. If I get an info for apt, and you will see that is the command line interface, and it is reading a man page. However, if you do info of any core util program, you will see it provides a detail of the library, that is core utils library. It displays the commands info entry, and it is very useful, similar to man pages. Next is what is. You can use this command to have a small description of for what the command is used. So it is actually the description or one line manual page description that is being captured and displayed on the screen. Now the next thing is alias. So if you check alias, so this will give you the current alias. So alias is just like a different name to a same command. We can create our own alias and we can use them. So but if you just type alias, it will display the current alias that have been configured. So you can see here I have the following alias, that is alert, then I have another for AWS, then egrep, L and LA and LL, LS. These are the current alias that I have in my system. So just to recap, we saw the following options that we can get the help or we can see the documentation. The first one is type, which indicates how a command name is interpreted. Second is which displays which executable program will be executed or the path of the program. Help is a small options details that we have for each program. Man is the manual page entry. Apropos can list you the list of appropriate commands. You can search through those commands which can find. So you can use apropos to find this commands which contain a specific keyword. And you have info which displays the commands info entry. Sometimes the info entry and man page entry would be same. What is displays the command's one line manual page description, and you can use alias to find out what current alias have been configured. So suppose you have a command X and if it has been alias to some other command, so you can find the details in the alias. Go ahead and try it out, and in case of any queries, do put in the comment box and I will be there to help you. Hello. In this tutorial, we will see two commands, head and tail. So head and tail are used to print the first 10 lines and the last 10 lines of the command. There are certain options associated with them. So let's check it. To check more about head, I've created one file here, which is actually the license of GPL. And if I use the simple option head, I can read the first 10 lines of this file. Similarly, using the command tail, I can see the last 10 lines of this file. To check the command head, I can use the command head and provide the file name, and it will give me the first 10 lines of the file. I can also provide the option C and provide the bytes. Suppose I want to read the 10 bytes of the file, and it will give me the output of those 10 bytes. So this is actually bytes. So 10 is very small number. I can just provide around 100 will give me the 100 bytes of this file. I can also use the option Q, which will give me a quiet read. The option N, which will give me the number of lines. I have to just supply a number, suppose 10 lines, and suppose if I want to get 50 lines, so I can provide 50 as an option. Now, similarly, for the tail command, I need to provide the command as well as the argument that is the file name. So, after providing this file name, you can see I can read the last 10 lines of the file. I can also do one thing that I can provide option C and 50 bytes, and I can see the last 50 bytes of the file. Also, for number of lines that I want to read, I can increase it using the option N, and you will see I can see 20 lines on the tail of the file. The last option is F, that is follow, and it works in the similar way as of less hyphen F, where we used to follow a file. So suppose I want to read this file GPL, and in case in the next tab I will do some addition to the file. In the end, I will just write here. So I will do some changes here, and you can see it will follow it, and it is being displayed here. Now to check the output of the quiet option, what I've done, I've copied the file and saved into another file, that is gpl 3.0 hyphen or underscore 1.txt. I can use the option head star to display the 10 lines of the both file. If I use the option quiet, so you can see the head is not displayed. So you can use it if you want to eliminate, or you can say header that is being shown by this command. Similarly, for tail, you can use this option to, let me just clear it first. So for tail, if I do tail star, it will give me the last 10 lines of the file. And if I use the option hyphen Q, it will eliminate the header option. So just to summarize, we have seen the option for head and tail, and you can go ahead and try it out, and in case of any queries, do put in the comment box. So the next command that we'll be checking out is ln, or the command used to create links, or a shortcut. We have three options, F, I, and S, that is force, interactive, and symbolic. So let's check it out. So I'm here in my terminal. Let me create a file f1.txt and another file f2.txt. Now I want to create a link of f1 into f3.txt. So I could just do f1.txt and I can create a link with name of f3 that would be pointing to f1. You can see here the file type is a link. You can also create a directory one, and you can create a directory link, like I can create a link for directory one in the name of 2. If I check here, you would see it is the directory, or you can say the file 2 points to directory 1. If I do cd2, I would be working on directory 2, but it would be showing me the contents of directory 1. Let me show you how. Let me create some file inside directory 1. And if I do a cd2, I do ls-l, you would see that it would show me the files for directory that have been created for directory 1. So this is a logical link. If I check stat of 2, you would see here that it links, that is links to, and the file is 2. Let's try something different. Right now the file f3.txt is pointing to f1.txt, and let us overwrite it. So let us try by the normal syntax. f2.txt should be pointing to f3.txt, and if we do that, we would get an error that it is already existing. I can do a force and it will overwrite it. Or to check it, we can use an interactive switch. So in this way, you can overwrite an existing link using the force command. And if you are using I, it will ask you anytime it will replace the existing link. You can also have multiple file links to one file or directory. So suppose you can create, so you can also have multiple links to one file. Suppose in this directory, I have one directory one, and a file 2 is linking to directory 1, I can also create another link for directory 1 in the name of file, suppose 3 or 4 or 5 or sorry 6. So you can see all these files are currently linking to directory 1. So whenever I change directory to any of this link, it will show me the logical name, that is the logical name of that. So just to recap, we had three options for link, that is force, interactive and symbolic. Go ahead and try it out, and in case of any queries, do put in the comment box. And if you have time, I will see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will see how to create directory and how to remove a directory if the directory is empty. So in order to create a directory, you can use the command mkdir. But let us first check what are the files in this directory. And you can see by using the ls command, you can check I've created one directory called Linux. I will go inside it. So let me create a directory mkdir test, and you will see it will create a directory test here. So if I go to this inside the directory, I can, if I need to create multiple nested directories, I can use the command p. Oh, I will just create multiple nested directory. And if I check with ls-r, you will see. So you can see here I've created a directory test, and inside the directory I have another directory called test1, and inside test1 I have another directory called test2, and inside test2 I have another directory called test3. So in this way you can create multiple nested directories by using option P. So let's check the command to create a directory with custom permissions. Now I've created two directory here, and you can check that it is test and test2, and the permissions are same. Let me create another directory with custom permission 755. Let me name it as test3, and if I check here, so you can see it has the same permission, that is rw x, r and x, and r and x. So this is 755. If I create a directory with custom permission 777, that is read, write, and execute to all the three, so it would be, sorry, the test directory is already created. See, it is highlighted by default in this terminal, and you can see it has the complete permissions to everyone in this directory. I can also create directory by permission mode 644 and call it test5. We check here. So it has only read and write permissions, not permission to execute, and only read permissions to the other groups as well as public. So this is the, you can say, mode to create a directory. And to delete a directory, you can use command rmdir test5, and it will remove the directory. So suppose I create a directory in this directory test4, like 1.txt, and if I try to remove this directory test4, you will see I will get an error. So to remove it, first I need to delete the files inside the directory, or I can use rm-rf test4, which will forcefully remove all the files as well as the directory. If you want to remove multiple directory, you can also use, and it will clear all the directory with the name test. In this way, I have cleared my test working space. We had used the mkdir command with two options, that is p, where we specify the parent and create a nested directory, as well as with m, where we can specify the modes for which we have to create the directory. We've also seen the command rmdir and the custom use of rm-rf, which can be used to clear the directories in case the child directory or files are present. So go ahead and try it out, and in case of any questions, just put in the comment. So let's know more about more and less. So these are two commands that you can use to read files. And when you have a lengthy file, it is very much useful. So let's go and check it out. So let's check the more command. I have the following files in my directory, and these are the GPL licenses, the various versions of them. as well as the text file that I've downloaded from the GPL website. Now, suppose I want to read one file, gpl3.txt. I can just type the more command and specify the file name, and you can see it will display the file on the screen, and here it will display the percentage of what percent of the file has been displayed. If I press space, it will go to the next percentage. So it's actually playing around 6 to 7% of the file at one time, and in this way I can read the file on the screen. Now to clear the screen, I can use the clear command. I can use an option D with the file as well, and you would see it has provided the options also. What options you can use? That is, you can press space to continue and Q to quit. I can use P option as well for a file which will once I've read the file will should clear the screen. So you can see here it will clear the screen at the end of the prompt. So this was about the option more. Now next is less. So suppose I want to read all the files together, I can just specify the wildcard, and you can see it will specify which file it is there, and once the file is completed, this is the next file fdl.1.3.txt, and it has specified that it is from here fdl1.3.txt. So in this way, if you want to read multiple files of the directory, you can use a wildcard as well, or you can just specify more star, and in this way you can read all the files of the directory. So the next option is less. Less is a command which is much more advanced than more. So it works in the same way as more. So suppose I want to read the file, I can just type less and the file name, and I can read the file. You can read the file using a down arrow that would go line by line. By enter, it will also go line by line, or E, it will also take you line by line, or J. So you have multiple options to move through the file. You can also go up the file using up arrow, Y, or K. In this way, you can use the various keys to browse through the file. You can use spacebar, which takes one page at a time, or F, which also takes one page at a time. B takes you one page backwards. Now, suppose I want to search a pattern, you can use the forward slash and search for the pattern here. It will find that pattern and display it. This is for the forward matching. You can use question mark for backward matching. So in this way, you can search backward in the file as well using question mark. N is used for to repeat the previous search. So I can just press N and it will continue using the same search. Suppose I have just typed forward slash and I say party here. Let me put it caps lock, and it will identify that. And using N, I can just search for the pattern in the forward direction. If I use capital N, it will search in the reverse direction. And if you press G, a small g, it will go to the start of the file. So you can provide any number with G, and it will go to that line. Suppose I want to go to 100th line, I can just provide 100 and G, and it will go to that line. Capital G would bring you to the last line of the file. So you can use P to come to the first paragraph. Suppose if I go to the last page and if I press P, it will bring me to the first paragraph. And I can also go to the percentage of the file. Suppose if I type 50 and I type P, that will bring me to the middle of the file, that is the 50th percent. H is used to display the help, and you can see all the help it is provided here, and you can use Q to exit the file. So in this way you can use less. We have another option called capital N, where we can display the line numbers on the file. This is very helpful if you are going to read a code. The other option is -next, where you can leave the content on the screen. So suppose if you read this file and it will be displayed on the screen. This is helpful if you want to scroll through and check it back again. The last option is less hyphen plus f. So what I will do, I will create one file hello.txt, and what will happen, I will just create some text here, and you will see in the end of the file I have the changes being displayed here. So it will keep on waiting for any changes, and suppose let me append to it, and you will see the command keeps on watching the file and it will keep on displaying it. This is very helpful if you are going to read a log of any event that is associated with it, so that you can monitor the contents. Now to conclude, as we have seen more and less command, we have seen the option for more as well as for the less commands, the navigation using the less command. I would recommend you to try it out, and in case of any queries, do put in the questions box and I would be happy to help you. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye. Welcome. In this lecture, we will see the options about move or the mv command, which is used to cut, paste, or you can say move the file from the source and the destination. It can also be used to rename a file. And we have the following options: F, which is force override, I is interactive, N, which is do not override, and U is update. So let's check out the move command. So I'm here in my directory. I will just create two directory: source and destination, and I will on the source I will create some files. So I've created these two files here in the source directory. Now if I move, I can use move to rename it. I get f2.txt. In this way you will see I have actually renamed the file. I can by default move the file using a simple command. Sorry, I've already renamed. So to destination, I'll just do this and you will see the file will be moved to the destination. So let me just put some content in this file, and I will just move it again. So you would see that if I do this and I check the contents of the destination file, you would see it has overwritten. So by default, the move option will work in the same way as the mv-f, that is the force override. And if you use it, it will overwrite the files in the destination directory, or destination file name will be overwritten. Similarly, if you want to be asked before overwriting the file, you can use an option called I, where it will ask before overwriting the file. And in case you, let me create one more file, f3.txt, f2.txt, and in case you only want the files which are not to be overwritten to be moved, that is, you don't want the command to overwrite the file, you can use, I will just use a wildcard. Let me show you the files here in this directory. We have f1, f2, and f3, and in the destination I have only f2.txt. Now I will be using an switch, that is n, which means do not overwrite, and I would just execute this command. And if I check in the source directory, f2.txt is still here, which means it is not moved. And in the destination, we have f1 and f3. So it has not moved the f2.txt because it is already there in the destination directory. So n is used for do not overwrite. So the last option is u, that will be used to move the files, and in case there is only file name to be updated. So To check this, what I will do, I will just do, I'll create a file f9.txt in the source directory, and I will just put hello, and I will just do copy f9.txt, and I will boom in the destination file. So if I check here and in the destination, you will see for f9.txt, I have the same modified time here. So now we'll try to move with an update f9.txt. We'll use an interactive switch. So I would know whether the file is being overwritten, and you would see it did not ask me because there is no update on f9.txt. Let me just update. I'll just do a touch so that the access time, also the last modified time, is updated. And you would see last modified time for f9.txt is updated. Now if I use this, it will override, because to this command f9 is updated now, and as soon as I use the option U, it will think that this file is updated and it has to overwrite the file on the destination. So you can use this option U whenever you want to. So you can use this option U whenever you want to update a file from source to destination. So just to summarize, we saw how we can use the move command to rename as well as to move the file from source to destination. The command is mv, which is a short form for move. And we had the following options: F, that is force override; I, that is interactive; N, which is do not override; and U is update. So go ahead and try it out. And in case of any queries, put in the comment box and I would be happy to reply. Thanks. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will start with sorting of contents of a file using the sort command. And we have the following options. This is kind of a powerful tool for text manipulation of a file. So let's go ahead and check it out. So I'm here in my directory and I have created a file for countries.txt. And if you can see the file, it contains a list of countries. Some of the lines have a preceding space in it, and some of the country names start with a lowercase letter. So the contents is duplicated. So let's do a normal operation sort countries.txt, and you will see that as soon as I execute this command, it has sorted the file in an alphabetical order. So it has first started with alphabetical order of the first character, and going down, you would see the last is Z, that is Zimbabwe. So if I use the option B, it will ignore the leading space in each line, and I can use to sort the file. Similar option, you'll see that it will ignore the spaces, that is, you can say here. D is for dictionary sort orders. This is same as the alphabetical sort. So F is used to ignore any case, you can say the uppercase or lowercase letters. Capital M is used to sort based on months. Let us create a file months.txt, and I will put some month's name in some random order. Alright. Now if I sort months.txt, so you would see it has sorted in an alphabetical order. But what if I wanted to sort based on the actual months? I can use the option capital M and I can sort it. You will see it will sort in the order of the months. That is January is first, then May, July, August, and December. So this is very useful if you are going to sort based on months. N is used for numeric sorting. So suppose if I create a file numbers and You can put some numbers like, and if I do sort -n numbers.txt, so it will sort the numbers based on their order, that is numeric order. You can also use R, that will capital R, that will sort randomly. So if I sort our months file, so it will sort it randomly based on, you can see, a random order, and every time you might have a different output. You can also use reverse sorting with small r, and it will give you the, you can say, reverse order in the alphabetical sort. Now we will see the use of some option with U, that is actually suppress duplicate lines, which acts as a unique. So I can have all the unique data of my file by using option U, and you will see that it has sorted the unique values. But a key point to note is that I have Afghanistan and another line with Afghanistan with a leading space. Also, if you see here, the Korea line and this line are same actually, but it has a leading capital or uppercase letter and a lowercase letter. Similarly for Malaysia. So if I want to remove or ignore the capital, or you can say cases, you can use an option F, and you would see that it will ignore the uppercase and lowercase letters. So it will provide the unique value. Now, if I want to ignore the leading spaces, I can use B. So it will ignore the leading spaces, and it will actually give me a unique value for the leading spaces as well as the line which does not have any space. So if you see here, it has only given me one value for Afghanistan. However, here we had two values. Now we have an advanced operation using key, that specifies the field positions. Now if I open the file countries.txt using more command, you would see, let me explain you. We have three columns in this line, that is United Arab Emirates. The first column contains United, the second column contains Arab, and third column contains Emirates. Similarly, for United Kingdom and United States, we have two columns. Normally, these countries have only one column. Here we have two columns separated by a space. Now suppose I want to sort countries.txt, and I want to search in the first column, and based on the first letter. This is a normal sort operation. So if you will see that it will provide me the same data which has been given by the sort command. So this implies the first column, and after dot we have the first character of that column. So here this is the first character of our line. But what if I want to sort with the second character? That is, for Afghanistan, I want to have F, and for Albania, I want to have L. So I can specify, let me just clear it, 2 here. So it will sort with the second character of that line. So you see, Azerbaijan has C in the second character and is last, and Switzerland has W is second last. Same is for Austria and Australia, which have U in the second place of their country name. Afghanistan is on top because it has a leading space which marks for the first character and A for the second character. So Malaysia and Maldives are trailing because they have A as well for the second character. Similarly, I can do the same thing for the third character. And you would see New Zealand would come to last because it has W as the third character. And and you will see here Iran is on the first place because A is the third character, for this line. Similarly, if I want to sort based on the second column, I can just replace this part and it will sort on the second column. So New Zealand would come to last because it has Z in the second column, and United States would be second last because it has S. United Arab Emirates is the first here on for the countries which have the second column. All the other countries here have only one column and it will always be on the top. Similarly, if I want to sort with the third column, I can do so. And you would say because only we have one country with the three columns, it will be just specified at the end. So I hope this option of sorting using a key map is clear to you and you can use it to sort with advanced, you can say, characteristics. So now let's create a CSV file and we'll see here. We'll put some data here. So I've created a CSV file. If you see this CSV file, you would see it is a random file with the first column specifying the number and second column have some names. So I can use an option T to specify a delimiter, that is, can specify that I want to split the file using the delimiter T, and then I can sort the file. So if I do that, you would see it will sort based on the numbers, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what if I want to sort based on the name? So I can specify the option K, I can specify the column number, that is 2, and I can specify the character, that is 1. So it will sort based on the second column, that is Adam, Bravo, Charlie, Gamma, and Zeta. You can also sort based on second character of the second column. So it will give me A, D, E, H, and R. That is for Gamma, we have A. For Adam, we have D. For Zeta, we have E. So you can combine this to sort, you can say, multiple files as well. Now I have all these multiple files. I can use this option sort to do it here. So I have these multiple files. I can just do a sort start.txt using the wildcard and it will sort all these files and give me the data. But this data is not useful because all this file contains a different form of data. I can just do one thing. Let me split the countries file with line 5 and it will give me the following files: XBC, XBB, etc. starting from XAA actually. So what I can do, if you see the file XAA, it will have 5 country names. So if I want to sort the countries and give a unique of all the country name, I can use X star, which will implement all the files starting from X and it will give me the unique countries from there. So using a wildcard, you can use sort command on multiple files as well. Just to recap, we used the following option, that is B, which ignores the leading spaces in each line, D, which is for dictionary sort order, F, which is for case insensitive sorting, capital M, which sorts based on months, N, which uses numeric sorting and is used for sorting of numbers, capital R for random sorting, and small r for reverse order sorting. K is used to specify the column as well as characters, and you can use it advanced way with T where we can specify the separator as well. The U option would give you the unique lines from the file. So go ahead and try it out. Thanks for watching this video and I will see you in the next lecture. So the next command that we will check is T. So T would read from the standard input and write to standard output and files. That is, if you are using any data with a pipe into this program, it will first show up on the screen as well as write to a file. Just like a T, it will divide this data onto the screen as well as on the file. So we have only two options. A is append, that you will append to the file. If you are not using this option, it will overwrite to the file. And I is ignore interrupts, and in case of there is any interrupts on this data, it will ignore it. So it is very good if you are going to take some logs of any command. You can use option T to save it into a file. So let's check it out. So let us suppose I want to create a file as well as show on the screen all the files of some directory. We can just do ls-l, then the directory, and I can use T and I can create the file. So you'll see that it has shown me this data on the screen. But if I check my directory, you'll see the file is created and it has the corresponding data. Now if I want to append to this, suppose then just type ls-l bin. I can just do t-a and I will just write to dev.txt. So when I open the file dev.txt, you will see it will have the data for bin as well. So you will see there here it has the data for the bin directory, that is from bash, etc. So these are the two options. Now let me do an update, and I will t it to a file that update operation.txt, and I will just do an hyphen I for ignoring any interrupts. Now I will just type my sudo password and I will run it, and I will just do a control Z. Now control Z, as we know, will put the operation into pause. Now just type the FG again and the operation would resume. So let me just wait for it. So the operation is finished now. Let us check the file. So you would see that it has corrected the data for all the operations without any interrupts being captured. So in this way, you can use this option of T and save the data into the log files. It will help you take the data into a file which you can analyze later. Go ahead and try it out. And in case of any queries, do put in the comment box. And I will see you in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome. In this slide, I will talk about two commands, that is touch and stat. So touch command is actually used to change the timestamp of the file. So we will see all this option, and we'll use also the stat command to display the file and the file system status. So let's check. Let's create a file first, and I would do so by using a command touch hello.txt, and I can check if the file is created now. So you can see the file is created. Now you can use the command stat to check the status of this file. So you can see using the stat command, you would know that the file is hello.txt. The size is 0 because the file is empty. It has not used any blocks, and the IO block is 4096. Empty file. This is a regular empty file, and then the device, inode status, and the links, etc. Then we have the access rights. It is 644, and the user ID is my username, and the group ID is my group name. The access time is here, which is today, and the modify time is here, and last change time is here. Now, if I do touch hello.txt again, what would happen is that you would see all the times have been updated: access, modify, and change. So you can use it. What if I only want to change the access time? For that, I can use an option A, that is touch hyphen A, and it would change the access time. So you can see the access time has been updated as well as the last change time has been updated. So these two times have been updated, but modified time is still the same. I can also use option -m to change the modified time. And you would see here that now the modified time as well as the change time have been updated, but the access time remains the old one. So let me create a file with option D and I can provide a specific date. And I can write it as test2. And if I check my file stat of, let me clear it so it's on the top. So if I check the stat of test2, so you can see here the change time is right now, but the access time and the modified time is of future, that is 25th of November, which is 3 days ahead of today. Now you can specify any date. I can create a file, or I can also, provide a date of, suppose I want to change it to 10th of July, and I can change it for test 2. And if I check the stat of test 2, so you can say it has, you can see here it has changed the access time and the modified time. You can also use a reference file. Suppose I want to take a reference for, let me check the first test2 and test3. And if I take reference file of test2, test3, and check the stat for test3, so you can see here the test2 stats for access and modified were 22nd of November. Here it was 5th of November. Now it is copied to the same what was for test2. Now this is very useful when you want to change the access and the modified time of some files. Also, you can use option -c to only change the timestamp and not create a file. So suppose if I do hello here, so you can see here the file is not created. If I do not use this option hello, the file would be created. If you are running a, you can say batch operation, so and you just need to change the access and modified time of files, you can use this option -c, where if the file is not present, it can ignore and then do not create it. And if the file is present, it will change the timestamp of the file. So just to recap, we use the touch command to change the timestamp of the file. We saw the option A and M to change the access time and the modification time. We also saw the option T for changing the timestamp and C for not creating a file. And we saw how a stat command is useful to displaying the file and the file system status. So go ahead and try it out. And in case of any queries, do put in the comment box. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will talk about the command WC or the word count. Now, we can open a file and count the number of words in it or the lines based using the following option of the WC command. So L prints the number of lines, W prints the number of words, C displays the count of bytes, and M prints the count of characters from a file. Capital L will print the length of the longest line in the file. So let's check it out. So I'm here in my directory and I've created a file of countries. So this contains the list of all the countries. I will just type the command wc and countries.txt. So it will give me 196. That is the count of lines. 254, 245. That is the count of words. And 1843. That is the count of bytes of the file countries.txt. If I just want the line count, I can just specify wc-l and countries.txt and it will give me 196. That is the number of lines. If I use the option W, which will print the number of words, it will come to 245. And if I use the option C, it will give me number of bytes in the file, that is 1843. I can also use the number of characters by using option N, which will be equal to 1843 because one character is taking 1 byte in this file. Now, if I use the option capital L with this file, it will give me 30, that is the length of the longest line in the file. So in this way, we use the WC command to count the number of lines or the words or the bytes of a file using the option L, which prints the number of lines, W, which prints the number of words, C, which displays the count of bytes, and M, which displays the count of characters. And we can use the option capital L, which only prints the length of the longest line in the file. So go ahead and try it out. And in case of queries, do put in the comments box. And I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you. Hello and welcome. So let's check the following commands, which is actually to find some details, that is who, which, and where. So who command is used to see which users are currently logged in. And you can use another version of this command, that is who am I, which provides the detail of the current user. Which is actually to check which program is situated, where is the location of that program. So let's try it out. So first command is who, which will tell which users are currently logged in, and you can see only I am logged in, and with TTY7. I can use another version of this command which tells about my that user, what is my username, that is who am I. I can also check for which version of ls I'm using, or which version of cat I'm using, or which version of CP I'm using. So these are the commands that we will be discussing later in the chapters, but using which you can check where the which version of the command. You can also use it with example Python. So it will tell you the location of. You can also use the command where is to find the location of the program, and it will tell you whatever instances of that program is associated with it. For example, if I do where is Python, it will give me all the, you can say, instances of Python and whatever directory they are available. And same as for if I do it for CP, it will show me which, you can say, versions of CP or which man pages are associated with the CP command. So in this way, you can use these commands who, which, and where, which will tell you the details of user as well as the program. Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I will be talking about how to navigate the file system, and we will see the various commands to do so. So first we will see the directory navigation and how you can move across the directories. The first command is ls, that is used to list the directory contents, and we have the following options. Then we have other command, that is print working directory, and the third is change directory, where you can use to navigate into the file system. So the first command that we can use is print working directory, and the command is pwd, that is an acronym for print working directory, and it will tell you which directory you are working on. Now you have two options to use. First is the L option, that will give you the logical, and the second one is physical, that will give you the physical address. Now in this case, both would be same. Let me create a shortcut for one of the directory, and that would be done by ln-s directory 1, and I will create a shortcut D. And if you see here, I have a shortcut that would be pointing to directory 1. So I can do a print working directory inside D, and if you see here, I will give the logical path, and this is the logical path. But what is the physical path? This is the physical path. This logical and physical path would be essential to know if you are working with the shortcuts, or you can say the links. Now here I have used one more command, that is ls-lrt. Ls is used to list the directory contents. So if I change directory to one directory above and do the ls-lrt, that will list the directory contents in a long format in the reverse direction with the timestamps. So these are the options. I can also search for hidden files by using ls-a. However, I have no hidden files here, so it is not visible. Let me go to the home directory, and if I type ls-la, that is the long format with a, you can see I would be able to see some hidden files, which are these are the hidden files here, which would not be visible in case you use the simple command ls-l. Make sure it is case sensitive. So if I'm typing capital W, it will not be able to take this the suggestion by pressing the tab. So I just need to be make sure that it is case sensitive. I'm, I'm using a small case W here to get the suggestion for the directory. Now I can type ls-r and you will see it will give me the recursive listing of directory. Now in Linux I have directory 1 and inside directory 1 there is no file. So it shows the recursive listing of the directories. You can use in the reverse order by using small r. So all the options are also case sensitive. Now it will give me the newest in the bottom first. Now you can also get the long format which is human readable, which will give you the size of the directory or file in the human converted format. So it is very useful if you're working with large files and you need to list out which one is having what is the size of the directory or the file. So you can see in the home directory, I have sorted with long format in human readable and sorted with size. So you can see here I have 1.1 MB file of core here, and then it has sorted the files according to the size of the files. So these are the following options. Now let us talk about changing the directory. Now if I want to go to any directory, I can provide the complete path, or I can provide the relative path. For example, if I list the directory in this CD and this is a relative path. Now to go to the previous directory, you can just do cd dot dot and you would be in the previous directory. To go to the root directory, you just need to type cd slash, that is the absolute path of the root directory. And if you want to go to the any path inside your home, you can use the option that is the tilde. It is situated just on the first key on left of one, so you have to shift and press it, and then you can provide the path and it would be your home directory. So you can use this tilde while working with any of the directory in your home directory. Now to summarize, you can use ls to list the directory contents. Okay, A is for hidden files, that is, it will show all the files including the hidden files. R is for listing the subdirectories recursively. If you want to find what are the files and the directory contents of the children directories. L is the long format. R is the reverse order. S is sort by file size. LH is the long format in a human readable way. Now for print working directory, you have two options, physical and logical. This is very helpful if you're working with links. And CD is a change directory. You can use cd dot dot to go to the previous directory. And if you don't provide any option, it will give you to the home directory. cd forward slash will give you to the root directory. And then you can either provide the absolute path or the relative path. So I think the directory navigation is clear. Go ahead and try it out, and I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to this video. In this video, we will talk about the compression utility called zip and a corresponding command unzip that is used to decompress the files. So we would be compressing the files into zip archive, and we would be using the following options. And to unzip, or that is to decompress the files, we would be using the following options. So let's check it out. So I am here at my directory zip. First, let me create some sample files and directory. So I will just create a few nested directory. We'll use the touch command to create some empty files. So I've created a nested directory. I can check. So to create a zip, I can specify the zip file that I want to create, and I can specify the files that I have to add. Suppose I just want to add only the text files. I can use a wildcard to specify all the text files that I have created. And you can see it has provided me the details that it has added the following text files into this zip file. If I want to check what is the content of my zip file, I can use an option L of the command unzip, and I can select the zip file, and you can see it will show me the contents of the zip file without decompressing the zip folder. So let me first remove these files, and I will just decompress the file using unzip. You can see it has extracted all these files here in the same directory. Suppose I will update the file f0.txt, and if I check the details, so you can see f0.txt is of now 11 bytes here. And if I check the contents of my hello.zip, you will see all the files are of 0 bytes. So if I want to update my zip directory, I can use an option U and specify the file that I want to update. And in this way, you can see the file will be updated. It is now of 11 bytes. So in the similar way, if you want to delete a file from the zip, suppose I want to remove f9.txt, I can just do zip -d f9.txt, and you can see the file is deleted. Now suppose at the time of compression, let me just remove this hello.zip. At the time of compression, if you want to compress the file and remove the original files, so in this directory I have from the txt file from f0 to f9. I want to create a zip file and select all the text files using this wildcard, but I want to delete these files when it is added to the zip archive. So I can use the option -m. It will delete the files. So you can see the files are cleared from my current directory and now being stored into the zip directory. I can also recursively add all my folders to the zip file by using an option R. Let me unzip everything now, and you will see that all the data is here. Now suppose I want to create an encrypted zip file. I can use an option E and specify the file that I want to create, and it will ask for me for the password. You can provide the password and verify it. And to unzip, if you see this file, it will ask for the password. In this way, you can create an encrypted zip file. Now, if we talk about unzipping, I can specify a directory where I want to unzip the data. So it will store in the directory using the D option. It will extract the data into the directory which has been specified. I can also use an option O that will override the contents of that file. Using the option O, it will override the contents. However, if I use the option N, it will not override. So if I do this, you will see there's done nothing here if I've used the option N. Now you can also use the quiet option, which will extract the files but will not show you on the screen. Suppose I do not want to extract any specified file, I can use the option X and exclude the file. So suppose I want to unzip this file and I want to skip f9.txt and I want to overwrite all the files. I can use this option and you would see it will skip the f9.txt file. So suppose I want to add all the files into a zip file, but I want to exclude any specific file. I can use an option X and I can specify the file that I would like to exclude. And you will see it will skip the file that I intended to exclude. So in this way, we saw the various options to zip and unzip. We can use zip to add files to an archive and a compressed archive. And if you want to encrypt it, we can use the option E, which would encrypt the zip archive with the specified password. We can exclude the files if you are using a wildcard and from the multiple files that you have selected, you want to exclude a specific file, you can use the option X. R is for recursive, where if you intend to add multiple directories, you can use the option R for recursive compression of files and directories. M option, if supplied, will delete the files that have been added to the zip archive. U will update the file in the zip, and D delete the file from the zip. Similarly, for unzip, if you specify the D option and provide the directory name, the files would be extracted into the directory. L option you can use to see the contents of the file without any need to extract the data. O option will help you override the file without asking for the prompt. An option is used to not override the files. Q is the quiet mode, it will not show what operation it has performed. And X, if you do not want to extract any specific file from the zip archive, you can use the X option. So go ahead and try it out. And in case of any queries, you can ask me in the questions forum. Thanks for watching this video and do join me in the next lecture.